It's Jake. Welcome back to another Unreal Engine video. So every game needs an interaction system. From tools to machines, lights, equipment, all sorts of things. They all rely on an interaction system. So today's video is going to be focused on showing you guys how to build a clean and scalable interaction system using blueprints in Unreal Engine 5. And by the end of the video, you're going to have a solid, scalable interaction system that you can drop into any project. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and open up the editor. Alright guys, so before we build anything, let's just quickly understand what we're making here. So the system's pretty simple. What we're doing is we're going to trace from the player's camera, detect if something is interactable, and then we're going to fire an interaction event inside of the actor. The player itself doesn't need to know what it's interacting with, it just needs to know that it's interactable, and we're going to accomplish that using interfaces and an actor component. Alright, first step, open up the content drawer and let's get organized. So I always like to start my projects out by going into the main content, creating a new folder, and I always call that _main. The reason I do that is because the underscore puts it at the top of the folder hierarchy. We'll go into main. I'm going to create an interaction folder for our interaction system. We'll create an interface folder. We'll create an actor component folder, and we'll create a base class folder. We're going to start in the interface folder. Right click, go to blueprint, right down here, not the top one. Go to blueprint interface. We're going to call this BP Interactable. The reason I like to use blueprint interfaces is because it eliminates casting. So it helps with coupling issues in your project, so you're not having hard referencing going on all over the place. It's just a more optimized, cleaner way for blueprints to communicate with one another. So we're going to open up BPI Interactable. And there's a fun little issue I can show you guys how to fix. If you guys ever try to open up graphs and it does this, it opens up a second window and you try to click it and you can't see it anywhere because it's collapsed so small it's barely visible. Go up to edit, go to editor preferences, go over here to where asset editor open location, it's set to default, change that to main window. Go back into your project, close that graph, reopen BPI Interactable, and there we go, it's docked up. We already have a function in here that's created for us. We can go ahead and rename that. We'll just call it interact. On the interact function, we're going to add an input. We're going to call this interactor. And it's going to be of type actor, and it's going to be an object reference. We're going to be using this because it'll help us out later when we need to know who is interacting or what is interacting with the item. Go ahead and compile and save that. That'll be it for the interface. Let's go over into the actor component. Right click, create a new blueprint class, and in here we'll select actor component. It says an actor component is a reusable component that can be added to any actor. So the reason we're using this is because we can cram all of our logic that is specific to our interaction system into an interaction actor component. So that way we don't have a bunch of slop going on in our player character or in our player controller or another class. It's all contained within this component. So editing later is easier, scaling the system is easier. It's just a lot nicer to use these. So we'll create an actor component and I'll call it interaction. Go ahead and open it. Inside of AC Interaction, we're going to create two functions. The first one is going to be called TryInteract, and it's going to have an input of interactor, and that's going to be of type actor, and it's going to be an object reference again, just like in the interface, because we're going to be passing that information through. The next function is going to be called trace for interactable. This is going to be our actual line trace, and this is what's going to get fired to search for interactable objects. So what we're going to do here, right click, off of the player controller, we're going to get the player camera manager. And the reason we want this is because it's nice because it returns the current active camera that is being used by the player. So if you have a first person camera and a third person camera and a fourth person camera, you can switch between those perspectives and this line trace will still function the same. It'll draw to the center of the screen, which is what we want. So off of the camera manager, we're going to get actor location, drag off of the camera manager again, off of get actor forward vector, drag off of it, we're going to do a multiply. Right click the pin on the bottom, change it to an integer, and then right click that integer pin again and promote it to a variable. We're going to call this trace distance. This is going to be a number that we're going to set, and it's going to control how far the trace travels, so how far the player can interact with the item or find the item. I usually set this to about 500 just for testing. Now we're going to drag off the execution, line trace by channel. For the start location, you're just going to drag off of get actor location. And for the end location, we're going to drag off of get actor location again, but we're going to hit it with an add node. And we're going to add in the result of our multiplication node. Plug that into the end. And what that's doing is at the beginning of our trace, it's starting at the location of the camera. Then it sends the trace down using our math for using the forward vector multiplied by the distance. So that shoots the trace out using the forward vector. And then we add that back into the actor location to get the final ending location. So it makes us a straight line that's 500 units long. Let's go ahead and enable trace complex, so we trace against complex collision instead of simple. You do not need to have that, but I prefer it for when you're tracing against a mesh. If it's smooth and round, you'll be able to hit the rounded surface. If you have simplified collision going on and it's not a complex trace, it's going to be testing on simplified collision, so you could have a sphere and you're only able to hit box faces around the sphere as opposed to tracing around it. So I like to keep that on. What we're going to do now is actors to ignore. We're going to right click, we're going to get owner. This is going to return the actor that owns the actor component, and we're going to plug that directly into actors to ignore, and it's going to make an array for us. So this will make sure that our line trace doesn't hit whichever actor owns this component. Hold down B, click on the return value, that'll add you a branch, pull off of the out hit, break it. We're going to get the hit actor, right click it, promote it to a variable, and we're going to call this the focused actor and store that so we can access that. Put it to the true output of the branch, and that's going to be our completed line trace for part 1. This is just your basic line trace down the center of the camera, storing the actor that we hit. If we do hit something, that's the purpose of the branch, is only do this if we have actually registered a hit. If we haven't, it's not going to do anything. Now that that's good to go, let's go ahead and go back into our interaction folder. Let's go into base class, right click, create a new blueprint class, create an actor. We're going to call this BP underscore interactable base. This is going to be our parent of all of our children classes in future videos for our interaction system. So we're going to create the base interactable item, and then you create children off of that so you can expand what kinds of items you are able to interact with. So we're going to go ahead and open BP interactable base. It's going to start you on the class defaults. You're going to want to click the cog and go to class settings. In here you see implemented interfaces. We have none. We're going to click add, and we're going to look for BP interactable. And we're going to implement that on this. As you can see on the left hand side, that opened up a new interface tab with our interface function, interact. We can double click that and we can implement that into the base class. Now this function's active for when we need to call it. So what we can do is just set up something simple here for our test. We'll do print text, pull off of this, we'll format it, do curly bracket, interactor has interacted with self, curly bracket. That gives us inputs. Pull the interactor into here. Off of self, we'll type self, get a reference to self. So when we interact with this item now, it should give us a nice little print up on our screen that shows us who interacted and what they interacted with. That is your interact event set up in your base. Now let's go and set up input. I'm using the third person template, so I'm going into third person blueprints, BP third person character. Go into here, we'll search for a keyboard key. It can be any key. I'm just gonna do E. Also, make sure in your player character, because remember, like we mentioned earlier, only actors that implement our actor component are able to interact with items in the world. We currently don't implement that. So to do that, you'll go to your components tab, click add, search for, and you'll see custom AC interaction. That's our actor component. Add that, compile, save. Now off of E we can get AC interaction, drag off of it, and we can do TryInteract. Hook that up to the press. Off of interactor, we're gonna get a reference to ourself. That's the player input side setup. Really quickly, let's go back into the actor component and we'll finish wiring up TryInteract. Open that again. Off of the interactor, you're gonna wanna pull off. We're gonna do a isValid check. So this function will only execute if there is a valid interactor. If it is not valid, it will do nothing. Off of this, we're gonna get our focused actor that we saved and drag it in, pull off of that, and we're gonna do our interface call, interact. You'll see BPI Interactable with an interact message. That's exactly what we want. You want the one that says message in brackets. Put that to valid. You can drag off interactor here and plug that in. So that way we're passing in the interactor to our interactable. All right, guys, that should be everything wired up. Just to help you guys out a bit, we'll go into the line trace itself, and I'm gonna go to draw debug type, and I'm gonna do for duration. And I'll just reduce the duration to 2 seconds. So that way you guys can see where the line trace is going. Go back into our third person map. We'll go into our base class. Oh, another thing you should probably do in your base class is add a static mesh. We'll go ahead and add that. We'll just add a cube for right now. That's good enough. Now you can go ahead and drag this into the world. Click play. Oh, one thing we forgot to do is we need a way to call the trace function in the actor component. So the best way I've found of doing this is not to use tick. We're gonna get rid of tick. Off of event begin play, we're gonna do a set timer by function name. Do not use event. You wanna do function. In the function name box, we're gonna do trace for interactable. And this is case sensitive. It needs to be typed exactly like your function name in the actor component. We'll set the time. Let's just do 0.25 and set it to looping. So this is gonna call our trace function every 0.25 seconds on a loop forever. So it's a lot more performant than doing tick, because that's 60 traces in a second. And this will be 4, and it'll still work well. So we'll go back in and play. Now you can see the line trace when I move around. Let's go over to the box and we'll press E. And there it is. BP third person character interacted with BP interactable base and it gave it its UID. And that's it, guys. You now have a fully working, modular, scalable interaction system. Don't forget to stay tuned. I'm going to be coming out with a part 2 here shortly. That's going to include adding a user interface and some pop-ups and adding some display names and variables to the interactable class. So that way we have a nice UI that shows us everything. So if this video helped you out, if you liked it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. I appreciate all of you. You guys really help me stay motivated, and I can't wait to see what happens with this channel. If you guys have any suggestions or anything you want to see or any issues you're dealing with in Unreal Engine, go ahead and leave a comment, and I'll try to get to those as best as I can. Thanks again. Have a good day, guys, and we'll see you next time.